There's the in-car camera that will be carried by Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. He's starting in 9th position. There is Mark Martin in the Valvoline Ford number 6, getting the tires warmed up as they go down the backstretch. And in the number 7 car, driven by Jimmy Hensley, will also have an in-car camera. This is a big race for Jimmy. We wish him and all the other competitors the best of luck as we get set for NASCAR Winston Cup racing on this Sunday afternoon here in the Brushy Mountains. And it is absolutely beautiful here weather-wise. The crowd is on its feet cheering the start of the race. The green flag is out, and here we go. Geoff Bodine spinning, so is Ernie Irvan here in the opening lap. And Mark Martin tags Geoff Bodine hard, and there is a fire burning at the back of Mark Martin's car. This incident in turn number 4, Geoff Bodine getting sideways and then was collected by several others, and quite a fire, it appears, burning on the racetrack itself.
It's just a racetrack itself. There's not a car there. All the cars have left except Mark Martin, and we can see just how much damage that Mark has to the right side of that car.
He's still flying off of it. Boy, there is a tremendous amount. He has no wheel. The housing is broken, I believe, Benny.
Yes, there's no wheel at all on Mark Martin's car.
On the
and
right
he's the
rear.
guy that was losing the gasoline, and look at all those sparks.
Here's a replay of what happened as the cars made their way through turns 3 and 4.
Looks like
Geoff Bodine on the outside came down. He and Ernie Irvan made slight contact. Both of them go around. Now, Jeff's car hits the wall. We can see the damage up there, but he comes back across, and Mark Martin has no place to go. There goes the tire, Ned.
Yeah.
It's leaving. He's broke the housing in two, and we can see the gasoline catching on fire.
And there is Geoff Bodine's damage. He was the winner of the most recent race here at North Wilkesboro last fall. And there is Mark Martin, whose car is badly damaged on the right side, hardly any damage at all on the left. Here it is once again.
Just a slight touch in the left rear, and around goes Jeff, up and backs in the wall pretty good. Now the rest of these cars trying to get through, they do get through, but when Jeff comes back across the racetrack, Mark Martin has nowhere to go.
Dale Jarrett just barely escaping.
And there's Jimmy. Is that Jimmy Hensley?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Jimmy Hensley just barely getting through the crash.
Dick Trickle was also involved. That's the white car up there to the left of your screen.
Morgan Shepherd, that's Morgan Shepherd there in the white Merc, and Kyle Petty, they both got slowed down and got through, and Martin is headed to the garage area. They have a lot of work to do on the Valvoline Ford.
And Geoff Bodine is in the pits. We didn't want to see the in-car camera used for a trip back to the garage area, but that's the case with Mark Martin. Jerry?
Well, Mark Martin has gone biased toward the garage area. Geoff Bodine's car pitting right at the entrance to the garage area. They were going to come down and pull the sheet metal away, change tires and send him out, but that will not happen now. Take a look at the left rear of Geoff Bodine's car. Oil now pouring from beneath the car. Apparently, they have either a rupture in one of the oil lines or maybe the oil tank. So they put tires on it, and now they will wheel him back toward the garage area. As they come by, I can see that it is the oil tank and some of the lines that have been punctured in the left side of the car. Some 16 quarts of oil that tank holds, and now they will make their way back to the garage area to see if they can get the car fixed. Geoff Bodine still sitting in the car as we watch him. Maybe we can try to get a comment with Jeffrey quickly as they're working on Ernie Irvan's car. They're also working on the Mark Martin car. Geoff still sitting in the car and apparently just very, very upset, very stoic in the car as a crew working now on the rear of that machine.
Not a good way to celebrate your 44th birthday. That's the situation with Geoff Bodine. Last fall, this race ran without a caution at all, and the first came out on lap number 1 here today. Watching at some activity back in the garage area. This is what the championship is all about, trying to get the car back on the racetrack to complete as many laps as possible. We're watching Mark Martin's crew doing the work on his car.
And you see that fluid, that is brake fluid, not gasoline that's coming out of there. He has broken the brake line off the right rear, and that's what we saw coming out.
Ben, what allowed them to get back with one wheel only pulling?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Different.
John Vernon's down there with Mark.
a very disappointed Mark Martin. And Mark, you're okay, but man, the crew's got a lot of work to do to this race car to get you back out there.
Yeah, man, it's over today. We had a great car, you know, in practice. I believe we might have had a shot at it, but we can't win any races like this, that's for sure. I don't know. Jeff spun out, and I don't know why I couldn't see. I guess I started too far back. You need to start on the front row today, the way they wreck these cars.
Mark, Benny and the guys up in the booth were wondering, with just one rear wheel, how were you able to drive it around the racetrack and get it back here?
It wasn't that bad. I thought I was going to wreck it going into the first turn. I was going faster than I should have been, but
Hey, John,
I didn't
go
know
back and look at that
I didn't know I had a wheel gone, so I was just driving it, you know.
You didn't even know you had a fire back here, did you?
I knew there was a fire. My spotter told me to get out. Shoot, I wanted to get it running, you know, that was the best thing, just to get away from the fire. Real unfortunate. I'm a little embarrassed that we can't start a race and not have a wreck, you know. I mean, that's not real professional looking, but the last race we had there wasn't any cautions for 400 laps, so I guess sometimes it goes good, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, there's always next week for Mark Martin and crew. Now let's go back to pit road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Actually, John, we're back in the garage area across from where you are on the other side, and Geoff Bodine still sitting in the Motorcraft Ford. Jeffrey, a tough break for you. What happened at the start?
I don't really know. I just got turned around going into turn 3, you know. The place is so tight, everything's so crowded. Yeah, I got bumped a little bit, and just the tires weren't warmed up, and it just got sideways and spun around. Unfortunately, a lot of guys, looked like a lot of cars got in that wreck. You know, I was kind of spinning around in front of everybody, and that's a bad place to be when you're on the outside pole. But like whenever you get in these kind of situations, you're trying to fix it, trying to get back out there, get some points. You know, we're third in the points, and that's about all we can do the rest of the day. Just try to finish as well as we can and get all the points we can.
Geoff Bodine is still sitting in the car, and if you take a look at the damage at the back of this Motorcraft Ford, fixing this car may be a bigger task than what you may have first thought. The oil tank is punctured, the oil has leaked out, part of the rear frame has been pushed in, the car has been shortened by about 2.5 feet. The Motorcraft crew, Donnie Wingo and them, certainly will have their work cut out. We're probably looking at 30 to 45 minutes at least to get this car track worthy again, which will cost him some valuable points. Gentlemen.
Geoff Bodine was the winner last fall. Mark Martin was second. They were involved in this crash in turn number 3 on the opening lap.
And as soon as this is from inside Mark Martin's car in the camera. He's right behind Rusty Wallace. Everything looks okay. And there we can see Geoff Bodine going around. Jimmy Spencer goes by. And here comes Geoff. Just no place for Mark to go. And there we see his wheel. Dale Jarrett going, and there's a fire that Derek Cope ran through. Morgan Shepherd.
Well, the cars in front of Mark Martin made it through okay, but he didn't. Here's the bumper cam on Jimmy Hensley's car.
He's going down the back straightaway, going in turn 3.
Bill Elliott, as Jimmy slowed down, Bill hit him and almost spun out. Don't know how he kept the car straight, but he got it down on the inside.
He did a heck of a job, didn't he?
He really did.
And here's from our cameras up on top of the press box.
Of course, as Geoff said, when they went into the turn, he and Ernie Irvan got together. Don't take much when you're headed into the turn, and tapped him, and around he went, and that caused all the problems.
Man.
Well, several cars have damage besides Mark Martin and Geoff Bodine. Nothing real serious. Bill Elliott's a little damage, so's Bobby Hamilton. We're getting set for the restart here at North Wilkesboro. Coverage today on ESPN Speed World of the First Union 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We're under caution. In fact, we have not completed one lap under green. In turn number 3 on the very first lap, a multi-car crash has put Geoff Bodine and Mark Martin back into the garage area where repairs are being made.
And one car that was involved in that, Ernie Irvan in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, has made repeated pit stops, Bob, and the scoring is now showing him 2 laps down. He has lost extra time in the pits. Jimmy Hensley now coming down pit road, so is Harry Gant.
Your first Autolite field summary of the day showing the cars